I feel like Psycho is probably a film that needs no introduction. It's a film that most film fans have seen, and certainly if you've ever done media studies or film studies, there's a very good chance you've studied this before. However, I'd never reviewed it, and I hadn't seen it in quite a while. I'd seen it a few times before, but it's been a good few years, so I decided to rewatch it, see if it still lived up to my memory, and it does. Needless to say, it's a really solid film. This was released in 1960. It's directed, of course, by Alfred Hitchcock, and it's written by Joseph Stefano, based on the novel by Robert Bloch. I've never read the novel. I have no idea how it compares. Maybe I should. That might be one I'd quite like to read at some point, but if you have read it and have any thoughts on how it compares, please feel free to let me know. And we have a cast including Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, Vera Miles, John Gavin, and various others. The performances are great, the story is great. It's just a really wonderful film, and I'll talk about the narrative in a moment. But first of all, I want to mention that it has an impressive IMDb profile. It's got 8.5 out of 10 on across 758,000 reviews and ratings, and it's the 35th top-rated film on IMDb. It's also got a Metascore of 97, and it was nominated for 4 Oscars. Interestingly, it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. It was Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Art Direction. And I certainly agree with those nominations. The story is great. Marion steals money and obviously drives off with it, and she stops off at this motel. And when she's at the motel, well, things get very, very dangerous and disturbing very quickly. I feel like it's obvious what happens, but I don't want to give it away. IMDb's description doesn't mention what happens to Marion, so I don't want to spoil it on the off chance that somebody doesn't know what happens. That being said, the trailer for it on IMDb does give it away, so maybe it's a spoiler, but I won't say just in case. But either way, it's a very dangerous place to be, and the story itself is brilliant. The pacing is fantastic, the execution of the story is brilliant, and the music is absolutely phenomenal. The score is by Bernard Herrmann, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Visually, it is gorgeous. We have some brilliant camera work, and I'll talk about one scene in particular with a spoiler warning. Again, it's not really a spoiler, but just in case you haven't seen anything about the film, I don't want to spoil it, but there is one scene I want to talk just a little bit about in a moment. And in general, I understand why it's a classic. There are some films, particularly horrors, some older horrors, where I don't really understand why they're classics. Not many of them, but there are some. Whereas with this one, I get it. I absolutely get it. I completely agree. So needless to say, I think Psycho is a phenomenal film. As I've said, if you're a film fan and you've done any kind of film studies, there's a very strong chance that you've analysed at least a bit of this before. Probably the one scene that I'm about to discuss in a moment. But if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's not guaranteed that you'll love it, but there's a very, very good chance. It's a film, as I said, I've seen multiple times before, and I was really glad to have a reason to watch it again, and I'm sure it won't be the last time. I'm sure it's a film that I'll check out again at some point, and for now, of course, I'm very happy to recommend it. And I will now talk about this one scene, so it's kind of a spoiler, but maybe not really. This is, of course, the scene with the shower, and I think arguably the most iconic scene, arguably one of the most iconic film scenes of all time. I have seen this scene so many times. It often comes up in compilations, it's referenced in other things. It's a very popular scene, and this is, of course, the scene with the shower killing, and it is so effective. But what I really love about it, there are 2 things. The camera angles are incredible. The camera work is phenomenal. And the other thing is the music, and then the lack of sound. It's a very noisy scene. It's a very loud scene with the music. And then afterwards, it is so eerily quiet. Immediately eerily quiet. And it was so effective and just so powerful. And I think it's an absolutely phenomenal scene, and it doesn't surprise me at all that it's one that's studied a lot, that's mentioned a lot. It's a really brilliant scene. Psycho is a brilliant film, and I'm sure it's one that I'll watch again at some point. And if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, then I'd say it's one that's definitely worth either watching or rewatching. It's a great film.